When I looked in the mirror after I had lost all my hair, I thought to myself, I look like cancer. My skin was yellow. I had no hair. My face was puffy. But the truth is, there is no look like cancer because your beauty comes from within. When I got my diagnosis, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. I was numb. My name is Karen Wooten. So I kind of call it my God wink in the beginning. A girlfriend had called me and she says, oh gosh, I have an abnormal mammogram. And so I'm like, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine, girl. We're going to pray about it. Everything's going to be fine. She gets hurt. She's in the process of getting her biopsy set up. In the meantime, I felt something that didn't exactly feel right in my right breast. And so I was like, well, maybe I should go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor and she is now sending me to get an ultrasound. She's like, well, we'll just get an ultrasound and check it out. Everything's probably fine. I woke up on February 21st, and I know exactly what that day was. This was in 2023. It was the 2nd year anniversary of my son passing. He passed away when he was 13. And I was walking up and down the driveway at my home there. We live way out in the country, so we have a long dirt driveway. And it's full of red rocks and chert. So I happened to look down and I found it's about this big. It was a purple amethyst chevron point. And so on the amethyst, it had 3 sides, and each side had a V. And I thought, oh, wow, this is beautiful. So the V was in the white quartz, and then it was the purple. And so I just kind of smiled, and I was like, wow, he sent me a rock, because we used to always collect rocks together. So later that morning, I was going to the cemetery to bring fresh flowers. Now, again, this is February 21st, so it was heavy frost that morning. Spring flowers aren't blooming yet. So I go to the cemetery, I bring my flowers, and I'm spending a little time there. And I happen to look down, and in the space in which he's buried, there was a single, really small purple and white flower. And it caught my eye, and I was like, oh, wow, that's so pretty. So I took a picture of it on my phone. And later that day, I go get my ultrasound. And when I showed up at the mammogram center, the radiologist says, no, you're getting a double diagnostic. And I'm like, no, I don't need that. I just had that in August. This is February, 6 months later. He goes, no, I think you do. So get it. Then he does the ultrasound. And so then this radiologist comes in and he says, okay, we're going to have to schedule you for a biopsy because we are 99% sure this is classic textbook breast cancer. You have a goose egg size and a grape size, 2 tumors in your right breast. I go get my biopsy, and this girlfriend, she had the same surgeon that I did on that Monday to get our results. So we went together, and hers was negative and mine was positive. So when I get this positive news, at first I was totally just numb because it was like surreal. It was like I was living in somebody else's life at that moment. How did this happen? Or, well, it was just so many things going through my head all at once. When I went to get the diagnosis from the surgeon's office, he told me that I had triple negative breast cancer. And so the emblem for that triple negative breast cancer is a purple and white flower. So I got the purple and white chevron amethyst. There was a purple and white single flower blooming there at the cemetery. And then the emblem for that triple negative is a purple and white flower. About a week later, I was scheduled to get a port put in because I had gone to the oncologist at this point, and she says, hey, you need to do chemotherapy. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think so. I don't really think I need that. I had always eaten fairly healthy. We have a small mini farm and we grow animals and, put up things out of our garden. And I just couldn't grasp the concept that I needed a toxic something to kill this off. And I'm like, no, can't we just do surgery? And so she says, no, you don't understand. The kind of breast cancer cells you have, if you do not do this chemo, you have about 11% 1-year survival rate at the rate this is growing, the kind of cells you have. And so I said, oh, okay, sign me up for your chemo. And at this point, the entire last week or so has been a complete blur. I'm still just kind of in a surreal state of mind. Like, is this really even happening? But I'm like, I need to take a nap. This is overwhelming me. So I lay down on my sofa there and I take a nap. And while I am sleeping, I had a dream. So my son appeared in my dream, and it was just his face, and he just had this beautiful glow around his face. And he smiled and he spoke to me and he said, remember the 3, Mama. God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then his face faded away and I woke up. I knew it changed something in my spirit to the point where I prayed, of course, every day, but somehow deep in my spirit, I knew that I was going to survive this triple-negative breast cancer. And so I changed my prayers not from, God, please heal me, to, God, let me be able to reach my hand back and help another woman in this situation. So I had a lot of support. I was a single mom, of this particular, my last child. I have 2 older sons. They were very supportive. One lives locally and one lives, out of town. My brother, his property is right beside mine. So, he was there a lot for me as well, in addition to good friends. It was kind of strange, though. You don't really realize some really close friends that I had girlfriends, they kind of distanced themselves from me. And I seemed really hurt by that at first until I come to realize that they didn't know what to say or they didn't know how to respond. So in a strange sort of set of circumstances, there were some other new women that came into my life that I'm still really close friends with now, that seemed to be more supportive. I'm still good friends with the other ladies as well, but for a while it seemed like a little bit of a distance there. I had my breast cancer all of 23 into the few first months of 24 before my oncologist says, okay, you're pretty much in remission now. And I would encourage any women, or actually anyone going through cancer, but especially women with breast cancer, because that's my experience. Get your mammograms, do your self-checks. I had my mammogram 6 months prior, so if I had waited that next year, I might not have lived that next 6 months at the rate that mine was growing. It seems like such a simple thing, but your own body and if something feels different. And it's always best to get that checked out as opposed to waiting. After I was recovered and I got my remission, I did join a wonderful breast cancer support group, but I never thought of it prior to that. And so I think that's essential to get in with a group of ladies, because they're all on a different journey and they're all on different levels of that journey, but they can also reach back and encourage you, help you, tell you something that maybe worked for them. Hey, try this. At that point, I was too busy trying to figure out, well, what are the treatments, or what do I need to do, or what vitamins, or I was kind of so worried about these things that I didn't realize until later. I'd heard of breast cancer support groups, but I really didn't think of the fact that you could join these while you're going through your cancer. I was always a really self-confident person, and I feel like that truly the beauty of the person comes within. So for myself, when I was going through all of these different changes, there was a point that I had lymphedema from the chemotherapy and treatments, to the point my legs were swollen like 4 times their regular size. But the biggest thing for me was when I looked in the mirror after I had lost all my hair, I thought to myself, oh, I look like cancer. My skin was yellow. I had no hair. My face was puffy. But the truth is, there is no look like cancer, because your beauty comes from within. I can sit here with a huge smile on my face now, but there were plenty of days that I was so tired. I was wore down. Each day for myself, I tried to keep a regular routine. For myself, it was important to keep a regular routine. And as all these changes are going on, you lose all your hair, lost all my eyelashes, all my eyebrows. I had swelling from chemos and the radiations. But for me, it was about trying to do something active every day, even if it was as simple as walk to the mailbox. Just that hot cup of coffee in the morning, or, the cool breeze, I think that was the biggest thing for me, just learning to cherish the little things in life, and to understand that sometimes the things that you thought you needed to be in a tizzy about really didn't matter. I don't necessarily do anything on a daily basis to kind of celebrate, but I do from time to time. But I do think it is important to celebrate and have those joyous moments. I celebrate by trying to give back, and to me that is celebrating as well, because we're all on our individual journeys, but yet we can all support each other. And to me, that support is celebrating.